welcome to Dardanelle, Arkansas, the location for this Golfing World special report from the home of one of golf's most recognisable characters. Any guesses? John Daly.
Hello.
Hiya, I'm Cara.
Nice to see you.
Nice to meet you. Thanks for having us.
You betcha.
We've been given special access to the house of John Daly, absolute golf legend. Here we are. You're going to show me around a bit today.
Yeah.
Are we going to get to know the real JD?
Well, somewhat.
Have you had to hide anything before we come and have a look around?
No, I'm an open book. It's easy.
So I've just taken a little look around, literally just walking in the house, John. It looks like you store quite a lot of stuff here. I think there's going to be a bit of memorabilia, right?
A lot of memorabilia, a lot of guitars, a lot of fun stuff.
I can't wait. We're going to have a look around, but first of all, can we go sit down and have a quick chat?
Sure. Yeah.
Perfect.
You got to be
That's good.
tired after your trips.
I do. It's a long way from London, you know. John Daly, known affectionately as the Lion or Wild Thing, is one of golf's unique characters. From the moment he won the 1991 PGA Championship in his first ever major appearance, it was clear he was a force to be reckoned with. The American followed that up 4 years later, winning his second major title at the Open Championship, famously overcoming Italy's Costantino Rocca in a playoff at St Andrews. That initial success, though, has been tempered in more recent times by off-course problems. And without a title since 2004, John is fighting hard to regain the form that saw him become one of the best golfers of his generation. So we caught up with him at his home in Arkansas to chart a career full of headlines and discuss his current battle to return to the game following injury. So John, I guess one of the first questions for you is, how did you first get into golf?
Started watching on TV when I was about 4, and just kind of when I started playing a lot of sports, basketball, baseball, football, and kids that play a lot of sports, it's seasonal, but for golf, it just seemed to last all year long, and just fell in love with it.
And when did you realise that you could actually be quite good at golf?
I never really knew how good I was going to be or how good I was or whatever, because I didn't have a lot of money to travel around the country like a lot of kids did, and I was fortunate to play in a few American Junior Golf Association tournaments, AJGAs, and I was fortunate to win the very first one I played in. And that's where all the college scouts come to those tournaments.
And then you went on turn pro in '87. 4 years later, 1991, it's your first season on the PGA Tour. The PGA Championships at Crooked Stick, you get a call to come and play. As we all know, John Daly goes on and wins that PGA Championship, but it took Nick Price's wife nearly going into labour and 8 other alternates not being able to make it to Crooked Stick for you to even get entered. So what did you initially think when you got that phone call? Did you kind of think, this is the time for me, this is my lucky chance, I've got to make the most of it?
No, I'd already had a pretty decent year. My goal that year was to keep my card, and I'd already done it. So that kind of took the pressure off of getting in the PGA Championship that year, but it was cool to get in. Never saw the golf course, never played a practice round, and the week went by so fast, it was like a big blur. I really didn't realize what happened until I got to Colorado the next week. It was just an incredible week.
And I want to ask you something that a lot of people might not know. There's a little story about something you did with a bit of the prize money, isn't there, from that week?
Yeah, there was a father that when we had a rain delay, I think it was Friday or Saturday's round, he got struck by lightning, and he had 2 daughters. And I just heard about it on the news, and I reached out to the PGA of America to get a hold of the mother, and when I won the tournament, I donated $30,000 of my winnings to the kids. And they ended up, both of them got college educations and saved enough money for one of their other children to go to school.
Moving on from that win, which was hailed at the time like a zero to hero victory. No one had really heard of John Daly yet, and suddenly he wins the PGA Championship. How did you cope with the big media and fans' reaction to that? Because it seemed as if this cult fan base started forming for you.
The fans were great. I still love the fans. The media, they were tough because they found out that I'm a redneck from Arkansas, that I do certain things my way.
Just behind you is an illustrious wall of pictures that depicts both of your major wins. And just below it is the scene from the Open Championship in 1995 when you lifted the claret jug. How special was that for you to do that at St Andrews?
That, and I don't think an American had won since Calcavecchia did in '89, so it was a 6-year span. That made it feel even more special. But to win at St Andrews, I mean, it's like, I remember Nicholas saying it, you win at St Andrews at British Open, you've basically done it all.
So you'd won your 2 major championships at that stage, 95. How are you feeling after having accomplished that 2 in just a few years? And then how did things kind of change for you on the golf course over the next few years?
Well, you take it back to '91, I was playing really good golf when I won the PGA. Going into the British, I was playing horrible in '95. To be honest, I think that was really the only good tournament I had that whole year. Things just didn't click my game for a few years. You know, I had some top 10s and did okay, had a chance to win a few tournaments, but not like I thought that I could with the way I expected anyway. It just didn't happen.
You are the only 2-time major winner to have never played in a Ryder Cup team. Does that bother you? Does it still bother you? How do you react to that statement?
It bothers me a little bit, but the bottom line, if I'd have played better, I would have gotten on those teams. And I just didn't play good enough. And kind of, you know, the captains at that time, they knew who they were going to pick, their buddies. You know, it just kind of got to that point where it was a buddy system.
And what was it you were saying that a couple of the Europeans, Montgomery and Langer, had said to you? They felt that if you'd been the other side, you might have played a bit more.
I might have played in about 8 of them.
If you were European.
Yeah, and it was cool that Colin and Bernard both said they would have picked me on their teams.
Oh, wow.
You know, so. But maybe one day I could captain the Ryder Cup.
I was going to say,
that would
John
be
Daly,
cool.
Ryder Cup captain, you'd be up for that?
I'd love to do it. It'd just be fun, you know? Be a
You'd
lot of
change
fun.
things up a bit, right?
I don't know if I'd change things up, but I would just kind of loosen the guys up. They just seem too tense when they play. The Europeans make it fun. Our guys just, I don't know if they just put too much pressure on themselves, but they just don't look like they're having fun.
Well, with everywhere that you have travelled in the world playing golf, we've had a few people contact us on Twitter knowing we're catching up with you. They want to know where you most enjoyed playing or travelling to in the world through golf.
The people are just awesome in Australia. I mean, the weather, the cities are gorgeous. The golf courses are just phenomenal. But I've always loved going to Australia.
Well, off the course, John, you've got a few interests. One of them is music, right? We're in your house. I'm going to have a bit of a peek around, but I hear you've got a bit of a music room. Can we go and have a look?
Yeah, we can go check it out.
Perfect. Let's go.
Okay.
First of all, any guesses as to which sport this man plays? John, this is amazing.
Yeah, you know.
Talk me through these.
Mr. Calloway gave me these.
Did he?
A long time ago, yeah. They've been through a little bit of war, but...
I mean, I imagine these must come out in the John Daly parties, right?
Not too much
Oh,
because they're
quite
so heavy.
Yeah. You're definitely not going to take a swing with that. Anyway, that's quite interesting. And then just behind where John's standing, there's a few bits and bobs here, the lions we were talking about. And what an amazing picture that is from the Dunhill Links.
Dunhill, yeah. Me and Sammy and
Michael Douglas.
Michael Douglas.
Oh, look, you got something here from Bill Clinton
Yeah.
to congratulate you on your recent tournament victory. Hang in there.
One in the British.
Lots of people are pulling for you. Let's head on through to this room, which strikes me as the wow factor. This is this kind of home in the house, this room?
This is kind of where I hang out, watch TV, watch my football, and...
Do you ever sit at the desk?
Yeah, every now and then. I homeschool my son in here a lot. He sits at the desk and...
And as if by cue, he's right behind you. You can come through, LJ.
Yeah.
This is little John.
Say hi, little John. Say hi. Say hi to all of Europe and the world.
Hi. This is John Patrick Daly, Jr. effectively, but the second.
The second, yeah. To me, this house is... It's real homey because I put everything in here and I got all my jerseys and guitars and stuff, but sometimes I feel like it's a storage house, because when I have my bus, it's getting worked on right now. I park it right out front. I usually just stay in the bus.
Do you?
I'm so used to it.
So even when you're here, you sleep in the bus?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And you still drive that everywhere? If you're traveling around America, you try and drive that to all your events?
Mm-hmm.
Wow, so you must spend a lot of time in there.
Oh, I just love it. I got so used to it. I don't have to ever unpack or pack. Everything's right there.
We can't help but see the Christmas tree on the way by, John. It's nowhere near Christmas, you know.
I know. I leave it up all year because my kids, they have Christmas every day, so.
I like that. So, John, where are we headed?
Up to the music room.
Wow, so you're almost as famous for your music as you are for your golf.
No, I just have a lot of friends that can play music, not me.
Oh my.
I dabble in it, kind of, but.
How many guitars do you have in this room? This is amazing.
There's probably 60, 70, 80.
Oh my goodness, look at them.
That right there is Baby Lucille from B.B. King.
Hootie and the Blowfish, Kid Rock. You've
Yeah,
sung
they
a couple
gave me
of his.
these.
Oh my goodness.
18 million served.
Wow, let's go in.
And then Kid made me this with my logo on it and gave it to surprise me for my birthday, my 45th, I think.
Oh wow, that
This
is a really neat guitar, that
never
one
even
is.
played it. All these that are hanging on the wall, I don't even hardly touch or play. This is the group Styx.
Okay. So where is the guitar that you would play?
It's actually down in my case.
Yeah.
It's a Martin. I like Taylors and Martins.
Okay.
For me, they're easier to play for me because I'm not very good. But what's cool about this goes from anywhere from like Willie Nelson to, the Stones. I mean, it's...
The Stones, oh my goodness. Look at that, you've got an actual signed guitar from the four of them. So before we leave today, can we get you on the guitar and giving us a few lines again?
We can try.
See, it's a promise. There's that and so much more coming up after the break at the house of this man, John Daly. Welcome back. Well, we've taken a little interlude from our day at John Daly's house to pop down to the ballpark to watch his son John Daly Jr. try his hand at minor league baseball. Let's go and see if sport runs in the family. So how nice is it for you to get the time to come and watch your son play sports of his own, be at home for the weekend and come and enjoy this kind of atmosphere?
Oh, it's nothing better than this. I mean, it's great. I mean, it's a little warm for you guys, isn't it?
It's a lot warmer than at home, but I'm not going to complain, right? It's nice to be here in the heat, watching some American sport. Is he a bit of a sportsman, do you think? Is he going to turn into his dad? Is he going to be a baseball player? What do you reckon for LJ?
I just love that he loves all the sports. I mean, he plays American football. He loves to play football, soccer. He plays golf, a lot of golf. He plays baseball and basketball. So, you know, it's great that, you know, because kids nowadays are sitting on computers and playing Xbox, which Little John does, but most of the time during the day he's out playing sports. And it's just great.
So when you're on tour, how much does he get to come with you?
Oh, all the time.
Does he?
Yeah.
He comes to most events now because you have full custody of Little John, don't you? So he lives with you and you take main care of him?
Yeah, and I homeschool him, which helps. So we can do the homeschool on the road or wherever. And but you know, as much as he's loving sports and needs to be around some kids.
And he is John Patrick Daly too, right?
Yeah.
The second.
Yeah.
I love it, Little John. It must be so frustrating because you've had the elbow surgery, haven't you, in the summer?
Yeah.
Why have you got something on the wrist?
Well, it keeps me from bending it too bad because it's healed up well after 9
wow,
weeks.
It has.
Yeah, it's just 4 screws in there and just doing really good.
That is 9 weeks.
Yeah, 9 weeks. Can you believe that? That's what you call a
That's
damn
neat.
good doctor
Yeah,
right there,
that is neat.
Yeah,
Oh, I
so-
see. So the wrist brace stops you turning in a way that you'd hurt the elbow. Okay.
Yeah.
And what's the recovery time? When do you think you'll be fully fit again?
He gave me the okay to start hitting irons again.
Really? Oh,
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, he said don't do it on hard pan or anything or hard dirt, but just go out and hit you some 5 and 6 irons and see how it feels. So next week, so I'll be playing in October.
You will
early
be, because
October.
you
Yeah.
are okay. Because how frustrating has it been for you to sit out? But I think you realised it had to be done, right?
I couldn't take it anymore after 6 years of this. I fought through a lot. I was in the last 7 or 8 tournaments of the year before the FedEx Cup, and which are always my favorite tournaments. You know, Greenbrier I withdrew, and then had John Deere, British Open. I hate missing the British Open.
Past champion.
Come back, play Canada, which, you know, I love the Canadians so much, and then Reno, and then to the PGA Championship, and then North Carolina Wyndham. Those are tournaments that last year I played, you know, pretty decent in, and not being able, not at worst, not being able to be in the last 4 qualifying tournaments on the web.com. Now I have really no status whatsoever, and it sucks, to be honest with you.
Well, we're back from baseball. I'm back in my favourite room in the house. And look who I found. The king. Not Arnold Palmer, of course. The music king, Elvis Presley. Back here with another king, John Daly. Or the lion, I should say. For another little chat. But we've just seen you watching LJ, Little John, playing baseball. Try and describe the relationship that you two have for me, because he travels on the road with you, you were saying, all the time, doesn't he? It must be a real strong father-son bond.
It's awesome. I mean, you know, it's something I didn't have a chance to do with my daughters. Different circumstances, of course, different wives. But nah, he's just a great kid, and you know, homeschooling. It's just easier being on the road just to homeschooling. But probably next year or the year after, I'll put him in school because he wants to play team sports.
It's amazing to see the John Daly you are now to perhaps the John Daly you were a decade or so ago. Is it fair to say that at one time alcohol dominated perhaps more than it should have done?
Yeah, I drank a lot. I wasn't a guy that had to have it every day. When I went to Betty Ford, they classified me as a binge drinker. You know, I could go 7, 8 days and drink and then not drink for 3 months, you know, but you know, now it's more about him and my daughters, and trying to rebuild a career, and trying to, you know, my left side of my body's about 14, 15. My right side feels like it's 97. So, you know, but it just comes with all the balls. The loading on the right hip, the flash of the camera in '07 really hurt me. You know, I fractured 2 ribs, separated my shoulder, tore this up, and So this is probably just one of a few surgeries that I'll probably be having because of that incident.
That was when a lady jumped over the ropes, right, and interfered
Yeah.
in your backswing.
Yeah, and I drop kicked it, and I tried to stop, and it just, the whole right side of me just collapsed.
What prompted you to give up the booze?
Well, I didn't have, a lot of times back in the early 90s, you know, I was forced to go to rehab, and that's one thing you can't do. You can't force anybody to quit something. You can't force anybody to start something. So the last pretty much 4 years of my life, I don't know, I had the band put in, which kept me from drinking beer, which was, you know, something I probably needed because beer adds a lot of weight. I can only live in this moment, live in this day, and not worry about tomorrow. Just get through each day and see what it plays out.
And what about the lap band you mentioned that you had fitted to lose weight? Why did you decide to do that and to take the matter into your hands in the kind of surgical way?
Well, I was up to 324 pounds when I had the surgery. Got down to 178 pounds, but I was just sick. I was too skinny. I'm right at 230 right now. It's probably more than what I want to be. 215, I think, would be my good fighting weight, where I feel real healthy. But I get under that, I get weak, I get tired, I lose energy, and I'm just a guy that's going to be fat. You know, and I'm big boned, so, you know, I felt like I looked great when I lost the weight, but I didn't feel good, and I was very weak. And I know Carl Peterson, he lost 30 or 40 pounds a couple of years ago, and he said he felt just as bad as I did. And, you know, some people, it's just different strokes for different folks, I guess, you know.
So no beer, not too much food, but chocolate milk instead.
Oh, yeah, gotta have my chocolate.
We've spoken about golf a little bit. We've spoken about how the power is important to you. We all know John Daly for your power hitting. Should we get out there and have a look?
Yeah.
But before we do, can we go and get changed and ready for golf? Because I'm with John Daly. I've got to wear the right stuff.
Got some hot mouth?
Let's go.
All right, let's do it.
Let's go check out the wardrobe. Come in here. I tell you what, look at this. This is a wardrobe I'm jealous of. John, talk me through this. I've got to start with these sports jackets.
Well, you know, I was never a guy. I always hated to wear sport coats and ties and all that. But when Loudmouth came along, it's just easy to throw one of those on because I love them. T-shirt and jeans. And, you know, if you got a pair of socks on in Arkansas, it's considered a three-piece suit anyway, so.
Ideal. Right, you see, I've changed, so should all of you. Let's just pick out a few of these. Which is your favourite? I mean, there's dollar bills, there's poker cards, there's different, you know, there's totally different fabrics. Which has been your favourite one to wear?
Well, I think when I travel overseas, I always like to wear my Old Glory, or even in the, you know, I'm home, I like to wear the Old Glory and the American one. This is a cool one, you know.
That is cool.
This might be one of my favorite ones. I don't know. That's pretty good. But the greatest thing about all this is you could get dressed in the dark and you're going to match. We've got some slacks back here.
Wow, doesn't stop with the jackets.
No, I mean...
Oh my goodness.
But I have something special for you.
Oh, what's this?
And I'm going to put on to go play golf.
He's got the Union Jack.
Hey.
I love that, John.
When we first met, and it was love at first sight. Retro's my favorite. Come on, y'all.
Well, I've been suitably serenaded. I hope you have been too. That's the end of our John Daly special on Golfing World.
An old rock guitar, Loudmouth, you know, it's got 'em all. Stay tuned for verse 2 and 3. Coming soon to you.
That's brilliant.